Some people of faith wish to hear God's voice audibly. Can you comment on that, please?
Oh, we all want to hear Him. All of us want to hear Him. There is no variables in that from Old Testament, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Elijah. The several prophets, they heard the voice of God. We want to hear the voice of Jesus. And it is very valid, Jesus abides in us. Why is He not saying anything? Very valid question. Well, let me answer it from a Christian perspective. The bridegroom comes at a time we don't expect. So be prepared all the time. So what does preparedness means? Preparedness means that we are in a state of spiritual awareness. That's really what it is. See, in the gospel, it describes the virgins, smart virgins, meaning they are mindful women who are not affected by any desires. You see, whereas, the other women, not as smart, they still had desires. But these women are prepared with no desires. That's the difference. Okay? So, which means we are removed. In other words, we have transcended our desires. Okay? That's what the concept of virginity means in the gospel. Meaning a certain amount of purity of our mind, not purity of our body. Okay, that purity of our mind is stemming from the absence of desires and the presence of desires. The people who had the presence of desires did not get to meet the bridegroom. The women who had the absence of the desires were able to meet the bridegroom. So what are the desires? Desires are simply the things that is influencing us. It makes us so mindful, that we are allowing something that is so materially connected, materially willful, allowing that to become a part of the infinite being that we are. You see that?
Yes.
See, being a virgin, it has nothing to do with women who haven't had sex. You see, it means that those women are separated from the desires of something that gives them pleasure.
Right.
Okay? So it is not a bodily condition. It's a condition that has to do with our mindfulness. Yeah. Isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So, in other words, what does exactly desires mean? See, desire is something that fulfills our mindful condition, that gives us pleasure, that gives us satisfaction, that gives us certain amount of happiness that are transient happiness. All of these things are transient.
Right.
Because it only affects mindfulness.
Right.
See, so we have to keep doing that over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
See, even the good things we do, if it is done out of desire, it doesn't give us complete satisfaction. It's not the end of it. You need to do that again and again and again to derive pleasure from it. Even something as altruism, even something as loving somebody, even something as praying for somebody, if it is giving a certain degree of satisfaction, and we are doing it over and over again to derive the same level of satisfaction, we are still affected by desires. You see that?
Yes.
See, that is the reason why Jesus is describing in this parable about the purity from desires. And those people will see me, they will hear me, they will walk all the way with me, when I'm talking to the house of the bride.
Right.
Isn't it?
Yes.
They are with me, they will be with me all the time.
Yeah.
See, so to answer the question about hearing the Lord speak to us, it does not happen to us in a mindful condition. it happens when you have no expectations at all. Okay, it happens when you have no desires at all. You can spend all day praying for him to talk to you. You're not going to hear him. But there are exceptions, because Jesus is very, very, very loving. So he might exceptionally let you listen to him, hear his voice. But that happens only exceptionally. See, for instance, in the early stages of spirituality, it happened to me a few times. But when you advance in spirituality, it doesn't. You see, but the awareness of his presence is always there. But him speaking and walking around and me seeing him, in person, no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Okay, that is exactly what Jesus tells to Mary of Magdalene. Don't cling to my material form. I am going to transform into the form of our Father in heaven. Hold on to that. That is what Jesus was saying. Do you see that? So can you hear Jesus? Yes, you can. Don't feel discouraged. Okay, but you listen to him, you hear him at times you don't expect to hear or listen. So don't just sit there, wait for him to kind of come and say something to you. Okay, again, I'm contradicting myself because it happened to me once. I heard his voice when I wanted him to speak to me. I was so stubborn, and I wasn't relenting for anything else. Okay, and I did hear his voice. Okay, because it is not my stubbornness. I was as stubborn as a child. God couldn't resist. That's really what happened. So if you are in a childlike frame of mind, where you want to listen to him, you have to hear him, he might do that. Because he is so loving, he is so merciful, he is so gracious. You cannot stop Jesus from interacting from you. But if you really want all of these in your life, on a realized way, on a permanent way, on an everlasting way, then you need spiritual realization and, all of these transcending, the mindfulness and all those things. It might happen to you, but it is not something that is going to keep repeating itself all the time.